Hello and welcome to another episode of Clone Wars Conversations. I'm your host, James Arnold Taylor. One of the best things about the Clone Wars was the vast amount of talented voice actors that we brought in each episode. And so many of them started as perhaps a single character and then blossomed into many others due to the ability of these wonderful performers. And today's guest is a perfect example of just that. She began with the voice of a Jedi Master known as Adi Galia, a sleek, sophisticated member of the Jedi Council that would become a fan favorite. And then by her vocal range and expertise, she was brought back again and again to bring to life many others, from droids to showgirls to none other than the mother of Zero the Hutt, known affectionately to this Jedi as Mama. Her time on the Clone Wars was filled with great adventure and tragedy. And this beautiful and talented actress did it all with just the right amount of wit and drama. She's a writer, performer, and lover of that galaxy far, far away. Join me now as I sit and talk Star Wars, radio, voiceover, and so much more with the very funny and very lovely Angelique Perrin. Welcome to the conversation. Well, Angelique, I am so thrilled to have you here. We've had so many years where we've known each other, mutual friends and such, and then the world of Star Wars, and we get to see each other at signings and stuff, but we never really get to sit down and do this.
Right.
So welcome to the conversation.
Thank you.
I ask everybody the same question.
Okay.
But it's so pertinent, and I'm so interested to know everybody's different stories. We're the same age. Were you affected by Star Wars growing up? Was it something that was in your world?
Okay. My mom's gonna be so mad. Do you have a phone? We could just call her. So one summer, every summer I went to New York to be with the family.
Sure.
Mom's side of the family.
Yeah.
And that summer, Star Wars came out.
Oh, wow. Okay.
My mother, while I'm off in camp with my cousins, getting dirty in the gritty streets of Brooklyn.
Oh, wow.
Where is she? She's at the theater with my cousin Sherry watching Star Wars. I get home and Sherry, she's my younger cousin, she said, "Oh my gosh, Auntie Joyce took me to see Star Wars and this and that and Darth Vader." And I'm like, "Ma, for real? You have one child. You ship her off to New York so you can go and adopt another kid and take her to see Star Wars?" See, Mom's like, "I can't believe it." I talked to her about it this morning.
Did you
I'm
really?
like, "Ma, you know I'm gonna have to tell the story, right?" She's
Yes.
like, "What story?" I'm like, "You know the story." She's like, "Oh, how I took Sherry to see Star Wars instead of you." I mean, it's been 1,000 years, and sometimes you have to let it go.
No, no one in Star
sometimes
Wars.
you can't.
Wow. So did you two end up going ever together?
I may still be scarred. I don't know. It was a different time then.
It sure was, yeah.
So I don't remember if we wound up seeing it together later.
Right.
Because I may have been so upset that I was like, I don't even want to see it now. But but we have the entire collection. My mom is a Trekkie and a Star Wars fan.
Is that right? Now, were you a Trekkie as well in any degree?
I'm a next generation Jean-Luc Picarder.
See, so am I, really. And I have great respect for the original Star Trek, and I know now all of a sudden we're Star Trek conversations.
Right.
Sorry, everybody. But I loved that whole thing, and Patrick Stewart and all. I thought it was great stuff.
I love him.
So anyway, and I feel it did kind of have, here's my segue. You'll appreciate this. So again, we're both radio people, and I love that it has the same feel of what I think we accomplished in Clone Wars.
Yes.
This kind of day-to-day living in these characters that we're, as fans, obsessed with and we want to know more about. Mm-hmm. And that's what Clone Wars gave us the opportunity to do. That's what I felt Next Generation kind of did as well.
Yes.
Even more so than the original Star Trek. But
I agree.
And then, maybe you and your mom, did you Empire or Return of the Jedi then together? Or no, it was just like, I'm going to do these on my own?
I don't even remember, honestly. That's what how you remember the bad stuff
and
the really good stuff. I just remember her not taking me. I'm sure we went to go see the others. Like I said, now we've owned the DVDs, and now, well, back in the day, we had the VHS and then the DVDs.
Sure.
And so we've marathoned it together.
Did she like them though? Was she taken by the story?
Absolutely.
Oh,
She's a total sci-fi person, and by extension, I guess I am too.
So then that leads me to the question, you get this call that you're going to be not only on a Star Wars television show, but you're going to be a Jedi. How did that sit with Mom? Was that pretty cool?
I mean, it was an amazing moment.
Yeah.
It was a moment that I don't know that I even understood until I walked into the session.
I remember that. I
And
actually
you
remember that,
broke
'cause
it
we were
down.
there. Yeah.
You were like, okay, here's what's going to happen. And I'm looking at you. I'm like, well, okay. And in my mind, I'm taking notes. If you get this many episodes, then this, and this is what's going to happen. And people are going to send you things to sign. And so when I got the first item to sign from my agent, I was like, oh, James said this would happen. So I was fully prepared, which was great because you don't really know the world. You know that something has substantially changed, but you don't really know how.
Well, and we had kind of, so you were in 7 episodes total, which is pretty great. Your first one was in season 2, episode 9, Grievous Intrigue, and you played Adi Galia. Mm-hmm. And the coolest thing about it, I so remember that, but the coolest part was you got to say, "May the Force be with you," which that's not like something that happened in every episode. That, in fact, they would avoid that at times. And I'm sure that Dave Filoni, our esteemed director, came in and gave you the whole thing of how cool it is that you get to say, because I seem to recall him doing that. But do you remember the time sitting in with Dave and such too? And
I remember, I'm pretty sure I stopped the session, which is pretty bold considering it's my first session. You know, I'm like, hey, I don't mean to be a total dork about this. However, you know I'm getting ready to say this famous line. And the session stopped and we had like a 20-minute conversation.
That's what I thought.
About saying this line.
Okay, good. So my memory is not fading. Yeah.
And he said, first of all, Mr. Lucas at that time was going through every script.
Yeah.
And he said, I just know when I wrote it in there, I knew he was going to take it out because it's only been said.
That's right. I remember this. Yes.
4 times, 6 times in the entire whatever. And he just knew it was going to be taken out.
Yeah.
And Mr. Lucas just passed right over it, left it in. And so I didn't feel like so much of a dork. I didn't feel like so much of a weirdo by being totally geeked about.
No. Well, that was the beauty of the show and the environment that Dave Filoni and the crew there set for all of us as actors was there is no wrong answer. There are no bad questions. And however you do things is how you do them. And George, I think that all stems from George Lucas saying, just like, and I've mentioned this before on these, like somebody may say Adi Galia, somebody may say Adi Galia. He would go, well, that's real life.
Right.
So keep it in.
Okay.
So if this person says it one way and this person says it another way, whatever. And how do you say it? You know what I mean? It's like, he was all good with that. So, but let me back up just a minute though.
Okay.
You auditioned for this just like out of the booth at your agency or at home, or how did it all come about, the role?
So my agent sent it over and I looked at it and it said it wanted, you know, I don't think I knew it was a Jedi.
Yeah, you probably wouldn't from the script. They would keep that kind of secretive.
It's a sort of African, South African, regal, right? Yeah. And so I looked at it. I was like, I don't do South African. And I always say that the way I got this role is by spending the night with Don Cheadle.
Oh, really?
I put in, right, wank, wank, I'm sorry, he's married. I put in Hotel Rwanda, which you know is the most depressing movie next to Schindler's List. Yeah, it's one of the most depressing movies. Yeah. And I slept to Hotel Rwanda and I listened to the accent over and over. I was not going to audition for Adi Galia because I didn't think that, you know, I didn't think that I had it.
Oh,
And
man.
so I was like, well, what's to try except to fail? So I slept with John Cheadle's voice playing in my head all night. I got up the next day, went into my booth.
Yeah.
Did I do it at home?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
And I just did it. and I got the job.
Well, I think that's also the cool thing there was they were not looking for things to be precisely this or that because we're in this other world.
Right.
And she has this wonderful texture and tone and accent that is just otherworldly too. It makes sense for the character. So you got to a point because she was in several episodes and some of my favorite episodes and some of my favorite moments. And we will be talking spoilers. I'm going to say that right off the bat to all of you watching. There are spoilers in this episode because we will talk about the fate of Adi Galia.
No, I don't want to talk about that. Why do we have to talk about that?
You know what's so funny is that most of the characters all the characters I really care about that got like killed off and stuff, I was there for those sessions. You know, Anna Graves, who plays the Duchess Satine, who was Obi-Wan's, kind of love interest and stuff, and Darth Maul does her in, and then Savage Opress. I was so surprised. I didn't know. Did you? I'm jumping ahead here, but did you know that was coming?
Do you want to jump ahead? You want to just jump right into it?
Let's hold off on that. Okay, let's talk a bit about, good for you, good for you. Yes, let's talk more about other episodes and stuff first. Well, but let's also just talk about Adi Galia.
Okay.
She is a Tholithean, is what they say. But you know, right, that you've heard other things, right?
Yeah, there's
Coruscant?
some confusion about where she's actually from.
Right. So some say, and I think that some of this deals with like extended universe and books and things and other things that were done. And now some of that is out of print and unavailable. So I think the last available information would be that she's from Coruscant. Although, if you look on Wikipedia, it's the first thing they say is that she's a Tholithean. So there's arguments about that. But she is a general in the Grand Army of the Republic.
That's right.
And she has a blue lightsaber like Obi-Wan Kenobi, which I think is good. Do you wish you could have chose your lightsaber color?
Well, I mean, if I'm choosing colors, my color's always going to be purple.
Yeah.
But
Mace Windu, though. See? Mace got that.
no, for me, just the honor of being with the family, working with people like you and walking into a warm, nurturing environment where, it was just the recording of it itself was really a great experience.
Oh, that's great.
I mean, being affiliated with Star Wars is one thing, but then being a part of the family and the way you guys played and, everything. I don't want to call myself an outsider because I know you're part
of the family,
you come from radio,
absolutely.
But like a lot of you guys had worked together before.
Right.
And I hadn't worked with you all. So it was like, hi, I'm Angie.
But that was also the whole thing that day. I remember that so specifically. And obviously we have a mutual friend, Eric Caver, who we both have known for years and worked with in radio, who's a wonderful guy and an amazing musician, does all sorts of, everybody look up all of his stuff. But so we had that already, but I wanted you to feel that because it was a family. It was very much so a comfortable environment. We wanted everybody to feel that. And then you came back and played with us so often, so it was great. It was really fun. Yeah. But 7 total episodes. So season 2 and season 3 and season 4 and season 5. And all throughout. Now, do you remember the second time you came in was for an episode by the name of Evil Plans, and it was episode 8 of season 3.
Okay.
And you played SND1 and BON1. They were droids at
Hello.
There
Would
it is.
you care for some mountain valley water?
They were those great droids, and I love what you just did there. It is that breaking up of like, the computer, you can hear the computer thinking.
Right.
And now here's the word, and here's the word, and here's the word, and patching it all together. While R2 gets his droid spawn. It was that was a fun, interesting episode. Do you have any thoughts of that one? I wasn't with you that day, so.
Well, that was a different episode because it was C-3PO and R2-D2, and it was all droidy.
It was.
And it was cute and it was fun for me because as a voice actor, the opportunity to play that level of simplicity, and then they're kind of like sexy bots.
They were actually,
and so that was fun for me.
It was a very different environment too. I don't know if fans, if you've seen that one lately, check it out again. It was very bright in there, and purples and pinks and yellows.
I was pink and blue, both of me.
Yeah.
I played 2 bots.
Yeah, they were great.
Yeah, I mean, that was fun for me because not a lot of acting, but a lot of really cool
performing, though.
Yeah, performing.
A fun episode, but also a pretty heavy episode with Cad Bane and stuff, and Corey Burton. You were working with Corey Burton. Had you worked with him ever before as a voice actress?
I hadn't.
Okay.
I mean, he was fun, but then he was creepy, which was
because
weird.
He's doing that voice, and
But he was such a nice guy, and it's almost like he had to be because he was so creepy. I was like,
Corey is one of the most brilliant voice actors out there. He knows everything there is to know about microphones and technique and the voice and what it can do and what it can't do. And then he's just very quiet, and he sits there. And he'll kind of sit there like, okay. But then if you ask him something that sparks his attention, he will be just on it. So he and I always talk about microphones and stuff, but Cad Bane was such a great character. And I loved that episode went there. And then it cut back to you.
Right.
And R2 and the spa and all the fun that's going on. Yes.
Welcome to Droid Spa. How may we help you?
Those should be, because Adi Galia, I'm guessing, is there an action figure of Adi Galia? Do you know?
I don't have a cartoon action figure.
Oh, but she has one from the
movie.
Okay, that's good
I do
enough.
have. Wait, I brought my.
You brought
my
your
card.
Yeah.
I don't know where these came from.
These are so cool. Yeah, I mean, and these are tops.
Yes.
So tops is fantastic. I'm going to actually be doing some new ones. I haven't signed anything in a long time. I'm going to sign some tops cards coming up soon. People will be watching for those. But this is a tops card, and it's all magnetic. It's great.
Gorgeous.
A star card. Let's see. Oh, her defense is 68. Her attack is 64. Agility 63. Intelligence 65. I'm guessing that's quite good. Force power 69. Wow. And skill 70. Adi Galia. I think that Adi Galia is a wonderful character that we could have even done more with her within it. But it also shows, I think, Dave and George Lucas's love for the character in reverence, if you look back as to what they did with her character in it. So again, spoilers, we will talk about that.
Yes.
But so moving on though, Hunt for Zero. That was season 3, episode 9. The next episode, actually, you were in. Spoiler on this one as well. We are going to talk about the fate of Zero the Hutt. Spoiler alert, folks. If you haven't seen these, sorry, but Cy Snoodles, which was voiced by Nika Futterman. You remember Nika, working in there with Nika? She did that whole kind of,
yes.
Oh baby, kind of this like, it's kind of Macy Gray kind of thing, I think was their
Such a neat voice.
Zero, honey. She's very funny. And then you played, I mean, this is Star Wars history, Mama the Hutt. How was that presented to you? Do you remember it all?
Again, I had to audition for this role.
Okay.
So it wasn't like I came in the studio, hey, you're playing Mama the Hutt.
Okay.
So I had to audition for this, and my inspiration I had a next door neighbor who was I grew up in North Carolina.
Oh, really?
She
Okay.
was as country. I don't want to say her name. I love and adore her. Country as I don't know what.
Yeah.
And I mixed her with another country. He was like an uncle to me. Huge, big afro, big man. And he always used to call me Squirrel. And he'd be like, Squirrel, you gonna have some of these? And so I mixed him and my neighbor and came up with Mama the Hutt. You gonna eat these slime paws?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And of course they turned it down. But for me, one of the coolest things about my voice is that I can make it go really low.
Yeah.
And so when I did the audition,
You gonna eat these slime pods? I got all up in
You
there.
did, yeah.
But then they turned it down even more. You know, they
Really, yeah, they morphed it. Matt
Yeah.
Wood and David Acord, they went in and did it. And then she had like almost a double. There was like, you can hear your voice, which is pitched, and then they had like, and underneath there was this whole kind of,
But
she's very big. She's a big lady. You have her card.
yeah, I do.
That is so awesome that she has a card.
Yeah. I think she was popular. People, I don't want to say tease me, but on Facebook after that, it was a whole bunch of, you gonna eat them slime paws?
Another one of my lines, favorite lines of hers was, when plebos fly out of my hop.
Plebo.
You know what was interesting?
When plebos fly out of my hop, I think that's what it was. So,
Who gonna pay for?
Oh, that was the other one. Who
Zero.
gonna pay for this door?
yeah, we're going to pay for this. Exactly right.
You know, your friends will clown you. They're like, who gonna pay for this door? And I'm like, huh? Mama the Hutt.
Mama the Hutt.
But when they showed it to me,
Yeah.
she was just a drawing. And they did her sort of to scale to everyone else. Everybody
Yeah.
else is down here.
Yeah.
And then she's up here. And then they showed me the width, and I was like, okay, she's big. She's humongous.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
And Obi-Wan and Quinlan Voss, the two Jedis, of course, are there questioning her. And Quinlan, of course, because Obi-Wan would have just knocked and then come in. But Quinlan, who is, I don't know, not my speed, he just ruins your door, breaks it down.
Who's gonna pay for my door?
But, you know, the other thing that's great that shows your ability as a voice actress and the range was you were also, you were a droid and a translator droid to Gardula the Hutt. And it was that kind of, it wasn't like SND1 or BON1, but it was this other kind of controlled, I don't know if you remember the voice you did for that.
I don't.
And then-
I don't.
And then you were a chorus girl.
Yes.
And she was always Sice Noodles talking. Yeah.
What was it?
Oh, I can't remember.
I can't remember the lines, but
Yeah. But she,
Something about zero.
yeah, exactly.
She was just, and you know, it's funny, and I don't know if you get this as a voice actor, but sometimes I'm looking at it, I'm going, oh, that's me. Like,
Yeah.
I made that voice.
Yeah,
you know,
get surprised, right?
because sometimes, most of the time when we go in, we know the big characters we're
Right.
doing.
Sure.
But sometimes we get thrown the little stuff. Hey, you want to play Chorus Girl too? Hey, you want to do,
Yeah.
you know, so you don't really know, and you just
You wing it.
turn on a voice.
Exactly. And you don't realize, like, she has a nice little scene. It's not just
Yeah.
like she goes, hey, Zero, you know, as she's walking by.
No.
She's got dialogue with Sice Noodles, and there's this whole character that kind of needs to be developed.
And they were so adorable together. I
Yeah.
was like, look at this. And I didn't even realize it. Honestly, I'm watching the episode and I go, Mom's like, I think that's you. oh yeah, that. But it was
That's
so,
always the best.
that to me is a great feeling
Yeah.
to watch your work and not even know it's you. Because a lot of times, I mean, people who have never been on camera, on mic, they don't understand the block that happens when you see/hear your work.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I heard myself on a cartoon, and it was sort of my voice coming
Yeah.
out of another character. I was like, oh my God, this is horrific. I mean, it was because nobody likes to hear their voice.
Yeah. I think you really, that's the one thing I always tell people when they want to get into voice acting, you know, and it's so popular now. People say that. And what's the one big piece of advice I say? Put on headphones, record yourself, listen and get used to it.
Yeah.
And learn to like it.
Yep.
Because if you're going to be a voice actor, you're going to hear it a lot. And you can't hate everything you do.
Right?
You got to learn to love it. Yeah.
I don't hate it. I just critique it. I'm like, you kind of lost that accent there, didn't you?
No, you're fantastic. It was so great. That was such a fun one. And I think, again, in the annals of Star Wars, what a great character to get to play.
Absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely.
I mean, but Adi Galia as well. I mean, because you get to really run the spectrum here of being a Jedi, which is what everybody wants,
Yeah.
to one of the most outrageous characters. I mean, I just remember because it seems like most of the time when I was there with you, we were always right next to each other. I don't know, you know, our mics were always next to each other, which is great, and we could chat. And I remember you doing that, and I had to keep from laughing.
That's good.
So, because it's just like, oh, what's she gonna do with this? Oh man, we're all kind of there. Like Dave and them, they're behind the glass,
So they can do whatever they want to.
But we're all there. Yeah, that was great.
And people don't understand when we're doing this stuff, we're not just standing there like this.
No.
I mean, you're into it. You.
And we're gonna give people an example of that later in the show too.
Okay.
But because that's why we do those scenes at the end of the show. People are gonna go, oh, it's fun that you do these recreations. I always want to give everybody the opportunity to see what it was like when we were in the studio together. And so we'll do that later with some fun stuff. But so Witches of the Mist, Adi Galia and Talia. So you played a Night Sister in that. She just had like one line, but she was one of the Night Sisters that was there with Darth Maul and Savage Opress and all that. It was part of the Night Sister arc. Right. So there was a 3 or 4 part story arc that they did. And but Adi Galia is in there as well. And so that's why there was the one, I think it goes back to the first one though. Yeah, it was the first episode, Grievous Intrigue. You're with Anakin and you're like, how close are you gonna get in? Do you remember those? You guys are flying in and he's gotta get into Grievous's ship.
He's being, a bad boy.
Yeah.
He's just being ridiculous flying that ship. And I'm just like the motherly, nurturing, get it together, buddy. I don't know what you're doing, but cut it out.
What I loved about it, and we're jumping around here, but it's Obi-Wan is over here doing this stuff. So he leaves Anakin with Adi Galia, who's essentially Obi-Wan.
Right.
She's very proper and like, so now what exactly are you going to do here? It's like, I could hear Obi-Wan saying the same lines. As well.
Right.
So when the two of them are together, which they were in most of these that happen after that, so Citadel Rescue, Nomad Droids, and Revival, it's Obi-Wan and Adi Galia are usually together. They're working with other Jedis and such, but we just had fun being these characters together. I loved that. Memories of this character specific to you that jump out or stick out for you?
I love the fact that she got to fight.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, traditionally she's high council and she doesn't necessarily have to fight.
Right.
So the fact that she jumps in there and kicks butt.
Absolutely.
That fight scene in the first episode that I'm in was Grievous Intrigue.
Yeah.
It's just like phenomenal.
Well, and so in that one, Obi-Wan is battling Grievous, and obviously they're always kind of going at it with each other there and all that. But then Grievous kind of gets the upper hand.
Right.
And he goes to take off, and then boom, in comes Adi Galia and saves Obi-Wan and a couple of clones.
Yeah.
So way to go.
Amazing scene.
Yeah.
I mean, acting-wise, it's just grunts and groans.
Yeah, sure.
But getting to see it, I was like, wow, she's a bad.
Yeah.
So I love that. I love that.
And it was beautifully done. And we experienced it again through the direction of Dave Filoni and them too. He would really lay out those stories. So
absolutely.
We weren't just, and you're right, audio-wise, it may sound like grunts and groans. We were living those moments when we were doing it. So,
right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's the great thing, and this isn't really something I've observed in other sessions. Mm-hmm. He really painted a picture.
Yeah.
He really told us what the world was going to look like and how, sometimes when you go into voiceover session, you have a sketch.
Yeah.
And they go, okay, it's an urban city. Be tough. Okay.
Yeah.
So the idea that he would paint this world and really break down the significance of the moment.
Right.
Because, some of the times we didn't always have a full script.
Right. No. Yeah.
So
you'd get your parts because the others were top secret. Yeah.
And that's a whole other discussion.
Yes.
I remember that time that you left your script at home.
Oh.
Do you remember that? I'm going to tell you about it.
Oh, gosh, I don't remember this.
I'm
Tell
telling
me
you about it.
Okay.
So this guy leaves his script at home. And when you go to the session, as you well know, we have to turn our script in at the session.
They must have, it was rare that, it must have been in the earlier seasons because by the end, we weren't getting them anymore.
Oh, really?
So they would FedEx them to us sometimes.
Yes. They got FedExed. Clearly saying, don't attempt to reproduce, don't
I have completely
scan,
forgotten this.
And it was on, I'm getting back to you leaving your script, but it was on this.
Thanks so much.
This paper that was lavender, and it was textured, and it had little pebbles on it. Not pebbles, but
there was texture to it, yeah.
textured.
Sandpaper almost.
Yeah, like sandpaper. And I'm like, there's no way Mom's not going to want a copy of this. You cannot copy that paper.
No.
You can't copy
Yeah,
it.
that's
It's
the whole point.
uncopyable.
Yeah.
But, so this guy comes to the session without his script. And I'm thinking the lovely casting director at the time, I think it was Jen.
Jen, yeah.
I'm thinking she's going to say, oh, well, will you bring it next time? Oh, well, will you okay, well, is your wife coming? Can she go get it? And that's what happened. I think your wife either went back home or something to get the script to turn it in by the end of the session.
I have no memory of that.
I was like,
maybe I've blocked it out purposely.
Can you cut this part? But that's how serious
Sure.
it was about the script, that you had to turn it in. That
you had
even
to.
this guy, who
Even
everyone
Obi-Wan
trusts,
Kenobi.
you've been there from day one.
Yeah.
He still had to turn his script in at the end of the session, or else.
I'm so grateful that you remember that because, again, I think I've blocked it. And again, that probably was one of the reasons why they stopped giving us the scripts in advance. But that's right. They used to send them to us. Wow.
The last script I got it when I walked in the studio.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how it ended up being, which it would have been for Revival. So, yeah, we do have to talk about it. Spoiler alert, again, we've got to talk about it. Were you as shocked as I was and did Dave talk to you about it before that this would be the end of Adi Galia? Or?
Understand the day. Mm-hmm. First of all, I didn't get a script FedExed.
Right.
Because I guess, like you said, by that time they weren't doing it. So I had no idea what I was doing.
Right.
Just that I was coming in, as my normal
Do your
self.
thing, yeah.
And it was a phenomenal day because it was show what?
Oh, well, so Revival is season 5, episode 1. So it is the first episode of season 5. We have got to be at 100 episodes already by then.
I think we were celebrating the 100th episode.
It was the 100th episode, right?
The publicity department from Lucasfilms was there.
Everybody, yeah.
There was
Tracy
cake.
Canobio, there was cake, that's right. Tracy did it all up right. I remember that, right?
It may have been someone's birthday as well, but I know there was cake and we were celebrating.
That sounds familiar. Yeah, I don't know if it was Ashley's or, it might have been like Ashley's birthday they were celebrating as well, but there was cake for the 100th celebration. And again, Tracy Canobio, the publicity department at Lucasfilm, was there. I remember this day. Okay.
It was a big deal.
It was a big deal.
It was a happy day.
it was a happy day.
And
until...
I walk into the studio.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at the script.
Yeah.
And I'm talking and I'm fighting. And then I skip down and I'm like, okay, well, where is she? Where is she? Where is she? Where is she? You have to read those little action parts.
Yeah, you have
where
to.
It says, oh, she's stabbed and she dies. And I was like, and it was very awkward because this is my character.
Yeah.
So I'm tearing up in the booth.
I know.
And I'm like, okay, well, you still have to perform, but it's personal because I wasn't warned at all. It's a happy day.
Yeah.
We just had cake.
That's how they get you. They give you cake and then they kill you.
And that's how you know it's over.
That's right. When you come in that day, oh, there's cake, it's a party. Huh? Like Joe Pesci in Goodfellas.
Right.
I remember it was emotional for me as well. Because I remember kind of going, no, this isn't right. Oh.
Yeah, it was uncomfortable. And it was mostly uncomfortable because it's like someone breaking up with you in front of the class. By the way, I don't want to go to prom with you, and I hate your guts. It was like that, where it was like, okay, I don't want to cry in front of everyone.
Yeah. But this is rough.
It was hard.
The cool thing is the way they did it. I mean, you watch that episode, and again, for those of you, hopefully, I think most people have seen all of these, but Revival is a very cool episode. It starts a very cool series of stories within the show. That's I think the hardest thing for all of us as actors within this family was we were hitting a stride, you know, and so season 5 technically was the last season. We then did season 6, which were the Lost missions that only appear on Netflix. But Savaggio Press, played by Clancy Brown, of course, does you in there. And
It was a noble death.
it was. That's the thing.
It was a noble death, and so I feel good about the episode,
Yeah.
despite her demise. And I was okay with it because that was our final year.
Yeah,
And I thought, well, I went out with a bang,
exactly right.
you know.
And I think it does make it more so for the fans. Sounds crazy. I think everybody will kind of know what I mean. It means more because she lived and died within this world. And so now when fans go up and they say, can you sign this? It's like, no, she was in the movies, but she really got voice and
Right.
life breathed into her from the Clone Wars, and because of you. And so
Thank you.
it really means something then. And so let's talk about that, the fan community and signing things. You know, we've done signings together, and in fact, I've put them on my channel.
Yes.
How is that for you? Is that just kind of like, for me, I kind of go, really? Wow, this is cool, you know?
On my first session, this guy named James told me that this was going to happen. And so I was prepared.
Yeah,
And it's flattering.
yeah,
And it's beautiful.
that's great.
It's beautiful when a 32-year-old man says, hey, we watched this, my son and I, we love it.
Yeah.
Will you sign this?
Yeah.
And they send such marvelous things. They take such time and care
Yeah.
to photocopy things and
Oh,
to
yeah.
find things that I look
Screenshots,
at.
they get screenshots of their favorite moment or what have you, yeah.
It's absolutely amazing. I've had people put together demo reels of all of my stuff.
Oh yeah, isn't that
And
great?
then post it on Facebook, and I'm like, my goodness.
Yeah.
They are, I think, the craziest thing for me is there apparently is a page called The Top 10 Reasons Adi Galia Was Killed.
Oh really?
Google it.
Okay.
The reason she was killed. And the thing that stood out to me, and there was a list of different things, but one of the things where I just cracked up, she wore red to the studio the day that, and I thought, did I?
Oh no.
I love red. There's a good chance that I did wear red to one of the sessions.
To one of the sessions.
Yeah.
But yeah, because they would write these well in advance.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. But I thought, wow.
Yeah.
Someone thought enough of this character to create a whole blog.
Theories.
Yes,
It's like the
on
Beatles
why.
with Paul McCartney,
Right.
you know. He's not wearing shoes. Paul's dead.
It was pretty.
Wow.
But
that's pretty cool.
I love that. You know, for me, what I want to get into is the appearances.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay, yeah,
now that
go on.
the show is gone, or I should say developed into other things.
Right.
I want to go out and shake hands and kiss babies. I still haven't gone to any of the
really?
Comic
Okay.
Cons or.
Oh, we got to get you out there at some of those.
I want to do it.
It's a lot of fun, and you'll never find more kindness than going to a con and experiencing that. And like you say, you know, these families coming together, and they're all in costume, or they all have a favorite character or a favorite
Right.
storyline or a line they want you to write in and stuff. Yeah, it's very special because you get to see how it affected more than just our lives. Again, we grew up with Star Wars. It's been in our environment from really, you know, a young point in our lives. And then these people have kids who they get to then introduce and bring it in.
Yes.
I've the same, you know, you've met my daughter and she's a fan of it all now too. And so yeah, it's a fun world. But within that, and segueing again, because you're no stranger to being out there with the crowds, you're no stranger to being on a microphone, not just in voice, but in radio. We both got our start in radio. And you were on many stations in Los Angeles, big stations from Power 106, which I did comedy for. So when you were doing stuff there, I was probably producing comedy from 92.3 and then 103, The Beat. So Aquanetta?
Listen, don't even bring Aquanetta into this because that was a long time ago, okay? And you know what's funny? They talk about people always ask, how did you get there?
Yeah.
How did you get from Greensboro, North Carolina to Star Wars Clone Wars?
Right.
And it really started with a piece of paper. I wrote on it, I want to take Aquanetta from North Carolina to Hollywood and turn her into a cartoon.
Is that right?
It's written on a piece of paper.
Oh, good for you.
And that's what happened.
Yeah. So now explain for those that may not know. So Aquanetta, she became a syndicated radio character and such, but can you give us just a little background on who she is and what she's about? And how she came about, I guess.
Well, Aquanetta, and people know this from Beyonce with Sasha Fierce, people like us tend to have alter egos that are cooler than we are. And by all means, anyone who went to high school with me, anyone who still knows me knows that I'm still a dorky, geeky. You dress me up, I may look like prom queen, but inside, I'm still this. And so Aquanetta was the voice that people would listen to. And so instead of me being me, I'd be like, all I know is when George Lucas said, hey, I want you in this, I was like, okay, what time? I'm gonna be there. You ain't even gotta pay me. This cake, okay, cool. I like that. But you know they keep sending them checks, right? You still getting checks too?
I hope so.
I got a check with George Lucas' name on it the other day, and I was like, thank you, Obi-Wan, George, Dave, all you people up in Lucas, wherever, Disney. I'm getting ready to go get my nails done with this money. But you know, Aquanetta was able to connect with people and be raw in a way that no one would listen to me do that.
You couldn't do that.
Right. And so I was doing this character in Greensboro, North Carolina. And the way I used her was gossip.
Sure.
Which is something everyone loves.
Yeah.
Oh, did you hear such and such did this with this one?
And whatever's happening with it.
Exactly. And she made her way, it got syndicated across the country. So when I got to LA, Aquanetta was already here. Yeah. She was already airing on KJLH here in the market.
Yeah.
And BET heard her and they wanted her for Comic
View, right?
And so for years she was the voice of Comic View.
That's so
and
great. Got
her own little spin-off thing. And it, you know, it was a nice little ride. And I still say, I want to bring Aquanetta back, a straighter version.
Yeah.
And make a cartoon out of her because it is still the goal. It is still the dream.
Okay. So everybody watching, we need to like, you know, we start a campaign or something, right? Yes.
But you know, on that note, the dream is having your own cartoon.
Sure.
Which now that we're here, we know how difficult that is.
Yeah.
And I don't even think I've told you this. About 2 years ago, well, it's longer than 2 years. 7 years ago, I was introduced to this young brother from Queens who moved to Korea and decided he was going to draw cartoons. He worked with Korra, Legend of Korra, and all this stuff, sure. Black Dynamite.
Yeah.
Came back. We got introduced. He says, I want to do a cartoon. And that was 7 years ago. Yeah. He turned it into a Kickstarter campaign. We made $157,000.
Wow.
It just got signed to Netflix. Launches in January.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
So I'm getting closer and closer to getting my own cartoon. I'm like right there. It's his, but you know, I was there from the beginning.
But people got to watch it. Can you say the name or anything?
Cannon Busters.
Cannon Busters.
Cannon Busters.
Everybody check out Cannon Busters when it comes to Netflix.
Yes.
In January.
Yes.
2018.
Yes.
My goodness, that's fantastic.
I'm playing a bot again.
Okay. Typecast again.
A bot vixen. So it's going to be fun.
Hey. That is fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, good. Okay. And then, but also, you've been back to school a little too.
Yeah.
How's that? I mean, like, is that just something where you kind of go, I want to do this. I want to expand and try more things?
We all have our dreams.
Yeah.
Having my own cartoon is one of my dreams.
Yeah.
But as my best friend Jill reminded me, she's like, you also wanted to get your master's. That's a dream too.
Yeah.
And some of those other dreams we push to the side, going, well, that's not an important dream. But all the dreams are important.
Yeah.
If we still have the opportunity to do them, then why not? And I had sort of a lull in time, a dip. You know how our business is.
Yeah, it
Sometimes
comes and goes.
It's full throttle. Sometimes it's not so much. University of Southern California has a 10-month program, a master's program in journalism. And I said, I'm doing this.
That's great.
I want to be in a position where I can go and take all this stuff that we've learned in radio, in voiceover, and go back to USC, to go to Columbia, to go to Harvard and say, this is what I've learned. Do you want to learn it too?
That's so great.
You sort of need a master's to do that on the level that I want to do it. So I knocked it out, graduated with 3.98.
Man.
And now I'm just getting back to work.
That is so great. God bless you. That is so cool, and it's inspiring. And I think that people watching will be inspired, because so many folks that I find that are Clone Wars fans are people that have these dreams and goals and stuff. And so that's why I love this. And that's kind of my side thing too. I have my book that I did about positive thinking and put it out there. So I love that you're a living, breathing example of that.
It's true. I think as we get older, we forget how free and how we were when we were younger.
Yeah.
I remember sitting in a group saying, who would I be 20 years ago? What was I thinking back when I left Greensboro and went to Detroit and then went to LA? What was I thinking? Because I wouldn't do that now.
No, isn't that funny?
But you have to have some of that freedom in order to get to the next dream.
Right.
To get to that, next thing. So
That is fantastic.
know.
Well, so we never know what the future will bring for Adi Galia and Obi-Wan, but for us, I think it's always more and more. And you know what we have in our near future?
What?
Is a chance to show people what it was like to be on the microphone in the studio. So I was thinking, what could I do with Adi Galia? It's always trying to kind of come up with what would be the best scenes for them. They're both, like I say, I see them as both kind of similar to each other, Obi and her. And so I found a scene from The X-Files.
Okay.
And it's from the pilot, and it's the first meeting of Mulder and Scully. And I thought, this actually could work for these two characters. So for you now, a Clone Wars Conversation special presentation of Adi Galia and Obi-Wan as Mulder and Scully. Enjoy. Sorry, nobody down here but the FBI's most unwanted.
I'm sorry. Agent Mulder, I'm Dana Scully. I've been assigned to work with you.
Oh, it's nice to be suddenly so highly regarded. So, who did you tick off to get stuck with this detail, Scully?
Actually, I'm looking forward to working with you. I've heard a lot about you.
Oh, really? I was under the impression that you were sent to spy on me.
If you have any doubt about my qualifications or credentials...
Well, you're a medical doctor. You teach at the academy. You did your undergraduate degree in physics. Yoda's twin paradox, a new interpretation. Dana Scully's senior thesis. Now, that's a credential, rewriting Yoda.
Mm-hmm. Did you bother to read it?
Oh, I did. I quite liked it. It's just that in most of my work, the laws of physics rarely seem to apply, with the whole Jedi jumping and gravity and such. But maybe I can get your medical opinion on this, though. Oregon female, age 21, no explainable cause of death. Autopsy shows nothing. Zip. There are, however, these two distinct marks on her lower back. Dr. Scully, can you ID these marks?
Needle punctures, maybe? An animal bite? Electrocution of some kind?
How's your chemistry? This is the substance found in the surrounding tissue.
It's organic, I don't know. Maybe some kind of synthetic protein.
Beats me. I've never seen it before either. But here it is again in Sturgis, South Dakota, and again in Shamrock, Texas.
Do you have a theory?
Oh, I have plenty of theories working with Anakin all the time, but maybe you can explain to me why the Bureau policy is to label these cases as unexplained phenomenon and ignore them. Tell me, do you believe in the existence of extraterrestrials?
Logically, I would have to say no, but I did play Mama the Hutt, so kind of extraterrestrial.
Yes. And Adi Galia possibly Thologian or Coruscant. Well, anyways, sorry, didn't mean to interrupt. Yeah.
Given the distance needed to travel from the far reaches of space, which of course we've done many times,
Yes, many times.
the energy requirements would exceed a spacecraft's capability
But,
to be...
conventional wisdom, yes, and you know how I hate flying, but you know this Oregon female, she's the 4th person in her graduating class to die under mysterious circumstances. Now, when convention and science offer us no answers, might we not finally turn to the fantastic as a plausibility?
Perhaps.
Like midichlorians. Yes, anyways.
The girl obviously died of something. If it was natural causes, it's plausible that there was something missed in the post-mortem.
Yes.
If she was murdered, it's plausible that there was a sloppy investigation. What I find fantastic is any notion that there are answers beyond the realm of science. There are answers there. You just have to know where to look.
Yes.
Use the Force.
Yes, well, that's why they put the I in FBI, right? Well, see you tomorrow, bright and early, Scully.
Absolutely.
We leave for the very plausible state of Oregon at 8 a.m. Don't be like Anakin and be late. It's fun. It's fun. That's so good.
Cool. That was cute. That was cute.
No, it makes sense for these two, doesn't it? I think it's great. Well, no doubt Agents Galia and Kenobi would have made a great team in the X-Wing files. Anyone? No? Okay. Well, what a great time I've had sharing with you the talents of Angelique Perrin. I hope you would follow her on social media and, of course, let her know how much you appreciate her work in Star Wars as well. I also hope you would consider subscribing to the JAT Channel and perhaps spending some time catching up on past episodes of CWC, as well as the hundreds of other videos here, from vlogs about voice acting to daily inspirations and so much more. I truly, truly appreciate all of the support, and I hope you can spread the word. I'd also like to thank Mountain Valley Water, the official water of the JAT Channel. You know, I have been drinking it for over 12 years now, and I'm thrilled to have them as a sponsor here. We still have so many more fantastic guests to come, so please come back next time for another Clone Wars Conversations.
Me, go!